All right, let's go to CBS 17's Zak Dahlheimer, who is out in Goldsboro, where just getting hammered by the rain in Wayne County.
Oh, shoot.
What was that?
Tree came down. Yep, yeah, we're getting out of here.
Safe. We want to let you know what happened. Zach was about to do a live shot with us when a tree just came down beside him. We wanted to let you know they're telling us right now Zach is okay.
Well, Wes, I mean, really pretty much the debris is just not condensed to one part of this area. The debris is scattered all around the road, and fire officials really are on scene trying to get a handle as far as what's going on over here. Again, most of it is really down trees, branches, and these power lines right behind me. This is one of the main concerns they're monitoring right now. So really they're trying to get a hand on what's going on out here and trying to advise people to drive cautiously through here. As you can see, it looks like there's it seems that there's power lines right behind me. Excuse me, Wes, but there's power lines right behind me that just sparked on fire. So again, a really cautious situation. People advised to really be careful out in this area with these live wires out here on the side, as you just saw right here on your screen. Evanston's fire chief telling us there are 25 agencies here from 4 counties that could be fighting this fire here at the barn for the next few days. Let me get out of the way so you can see the scene here. Very active, lots of smoke going on. We got crews here trying to bring out the hay. You can see the wreckage of the barn from this fire. And we talked with the barn's owner, who says he's still in shock, trying to process the thought of rebuilding.
Be a long, drawn-out process.
Talmadge Burgess says he got a call from a nearby friend about the hay barn he's owned for nearly 20 years along Highway 39.
The whole back end was fully engulfed in fire.
Fire crews from nearby counties joining in to put out the fire, shutting down the road as crews shuttle water to the scene.
We've got a 3 dump tank operation going on. What that does is it's kind of like a pool or kind of like a water pool and a hydrant. Trucks pull up, dump their water, then they go to a hydrant and fill up, and then all in a circle.
While thankful for the massive response, Burgess says he's focusing on starting over.
I have to move slow, take it one day at a time.
And again, you can see the crews right here trying to get the hay that's been burned out of the barn. Now, the owner says between this hay and the wreckage to the barn, he's estimating the losses here to equal roughly $150,000. Now, Chief Mueller did tell us that there was weather here in this area at the time they got the call. However, the official cause of this fire is still unknown at this time. He also says as crews work through the night, the immediate portion right here of Highway 39 near this barn should be closed until at least tomorrow morning. We'll have any updates, of course, as we bring them into you both on air and online at CBS17.com. Live in Vance County, Zak Dahlheimer, CBS 17 News. Angela, just to put into perspective, I'm standing right next to one of the homes where we talked with this neighbor here, and I'm a little less than 6 feet tall. This is the pile of debris that's been taken out from in and around this home here. You can just see insulation and other things stacked up right here along this street in this Parker neighborhood east of Panama City. And it's not like this just on this side of the street. I want to take you over here. You can see this right here and how it stretches down this street moving on. We have seen a lot in the Panhandle. Some homes destroyed. Others are getting their power back on for the first time in 2 weeks.
I wasn't scared. I was mad.
It's been 2 weeks since George Nepareni took shelter in his garage as Hurricane Michael left major damage to his and other homes around Parker.
I equate this to Vietnam, but, you know, I mean, this looks like an arc light went through here. A B-52, you know, bombing raid, where you'd watch those B-52s come and drop the arc lights, and you'd see big, huge mahogany trees doing cartwheels.
I'll pray unto the Lord.
Joe Ed Hutchinson was concerned about the home he and his wife built 53 years ago. While the storm damaged his roof, he's thinking of others impacted.
There's a lot of people that really got hurt on this. I hope that everyone that was unfortunate has a good fortune.
But now he and others are looking ahead with power back on in his home this afternoon.
It feels good. Didn't that air feel good? Sure does. It's nothing like we've ever seen before here.
Damage could be seen around Claiborne Brown's home, but he says brighter days are ahead, with power coming on at his home during our conversation, the first time since Michael made landfall.
Look, the power's on. How about that? Dang, that's a blessing, man, I tell you. Look at there. I won't have to stay in the hotel tonight. Man, it's just like seeing daylight again.
Now, Ned Bereni says that he's seen FEMA officials coming through this neighborhood beginning yesterday, and Brown also said after the storm he is seriously considering moving back to Durham. Another thing that our photographer Colton West and I have seen all around driving through this neighborhood is signs with concerns from people living here about looting. Some of those signs reading, "You loot, we shoot." We're live in Parker, Florida. Zak Dahlheimer, CBS 17 News. These are Lee County Emergency Services remotely operated vehicles used in the search for James Chambers' body. Now, officials here say these devices are equipped with things such as sonar and a robotic arm, as well as this 4K camera with a 305-degree field of view, able to locate anything, even in the darkest of waters.
I want to help them find him just as much as they want him to be found.
Shane Seagroves has been diving for years.
Searching for evidence, searching for drowning victims, searching for vehicles.
One of his latest missions, the search for James Chambers II in Sampson County.
We used the sonar to look for targets around the bridge.
He and others in Lee County have these new robotic devices through Homeland Security funding.
There's the tire of the car. The car is actually upside down.
Providing a new set of eyes and safety for divers. Having that type of capability, how does that help, especially in missing person cases?
Without the sonar, you're in the same situation you are when you dive. When you go down, you're zero visibility. The sonar allows us to be able to see through that muck, see through the sediment in the water, and it just gives you a clear view of the bottom.
We hope that the technology will make a difference.
Gene Robinson flew in from Texas for the search, flying his drone with nonprofit RP Search Services, taking these pictures, which he says could provide a new scope for searches from above.
It has GPS coordinates with it. We can overlay it on a map. We can give them very clear directions. They can go straight to it with the least amount of effort and determine whether that's a clue or not.
Both say they're ready to go back out, confident their tools could help find Chambers and others.
At the end of the day, I think the team efforts will help them recover their loved one.
It's still unknown when searchers will be back out to look for Chambers' body. In Lee County, Zak Dahlheimer, CBS 17 News. What goes through your mind?
Like hell broke loose.
83-year-old Beatrice Price remembers taking shelter in her bathroom at her home on Leslie Drive when a tornado touched down in Orange County.
I never heard such a noise in all my life. It was just slam, bang, crash. It sounded like metal being hit.
The storm damaged her home, car, and left trees all over her yard.
And I don't know how anybody out here could take care of all these trees unless we had some help.
Enter Team Rubicon, a nonprofit filled with volunteers from different backgrounds, including retired military and first responders coming from across the country, helping around the world, all for one purpose.
You look at the devastation if it was your house, and you're just overwhelmed. And so we're able to say, don't worry about that.
Well, I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. I actually like working the chainsaw. I grew up on a tree farm in Oregon. It makes me happy to be out working in the outside. When I had trees fall in my house, people from my church showed up and helped us. It's one of those things where you pay it forward and give back where you can.
These people, they go through these disasters, and sometimes they can feel like there's no hope. And it's good to know that there's an organization like Team Rubicon, to provide that hope.
Because so many people have been to war in the last 20 years, it gives veterans a purpose and a mission.
Meanwhile, those like Price are trying to move forward.
Being retired and, a senior citizen, on a limited income and all like that, you just do the best you can.
DeHane says they plan on staying here in the neighborhood to help out until next Tuesday. In Orange County, Zak Dahlheimer, CBS 17 News.
It's basically I would say a health crisis of catastrophic proportions.
Dr. Brian Roth has studied opioids for 35 years, paying close attention to the epidemic taking hold across the nation.
In the last year, more than 50,000 people died of opioid overdoses in the U.S. which is more than the number of Americans that died during all the years of the Vietnam War. And this year it's going to even be more.
But this year, the UNC pharmacology professor and other scientists have made a discovery in the triangle looking at how opioids react with the brain. Hoping to develop a different kind of medicine, one he says designed to treat pain without possibly causing it.
These new medications would be safer, so they wouldn't kill people when they take overdoses, and hopefully they would be non-addictive as well.
Roth says he and his team here at UNC made these findings back in January. You could see here on this diagram the blue outlining the opioid and how it binds with the receptor of the brain. And he says this discovery allows scientists to have a clear vision to develop a new kind of opioid with less side effects. The finding, he says, has led his team to develop a drug for recent testing with mice.
It's very effective at relieving pain. Does not appear to have any addictive properties, does not cause dependence, and does not cause overdose.
He and others hope to eventually see a drug for humans that could be the cure to help the country.
I'm quite confident that someone eventually will basically find the magic key here. It may be my lab, it may be another lab, but I think the fact that we have the structure is the key thing actually that's pushing it all forward.
In Chapel Hill, Zak Dahlheimer, CBS 17 News. Business is good at the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. For the third year in a row, the state-run department is reporting record sales.
I'm a businessman. I'm paid to think ahead and to look out after my system.
And thinking ahead is exactly what Mark Combs with the Asheville ABC Board is doing. Take a look at where I'm standing. This is one of 3 warehouse spaces equaling 30,000 square feet that Combs says has the capacity to store liquor for the next 50 years. While he says this was bought due to growth in liquor sales, Combs says the space could also be used potentially to store other products like legalized marijuana. Under North Carolina's Controlled Substances Act, pot is classified at the lowest threat level, a Schedule 6 drug. That classification means the drug has no currently accepted medical use, a relatively low potential for abuse, a need for further and continuing study. Kelly Alexander is one of our state lawmakers looking to remove marijuana from the controlled substances list this year. He wants an approach to cannabis similar to alcohol.
We have dry counties, we have wet counties, we have portions of counties that may be wet, and the rest of them are dry. All of that's driven by local option decisions, either by the decisions of local elected boards or by votes of the people.
Jim Hickman, North Carolina attorney, Republican, conservative, would vote yes.
When it comes to a ridiculous policy that is not benefiting anyone in our country or our country itself, then I think that's where we have to re-examine that.
Hickman often travels to Palm Springs, California, a desert destination where cannabis is sold all over the city. While out west, Hickman legally uses marijuana. Why cannabis?
I've had a chronic illness for decades.
More than 30 states and the District of Columbia have legalized marijuana for medical use. 10 of those states and D.C. now allow adult recreational use.
This used to be king tobacco land. Now the regulatory industry, or the regulation of the tobacco industry has caused a void in North Carolina that quite frankly has not been able to be caught up with yet.
Legalization could also impact arrest rates. Data from the FBI shows possession accounted for about 85% of all arrests for drug abuse violations in the U.S., and more than a third is for possession of marijuana.
Is it worth the money that we're paying to have police enforce marijuana laws when the real problem is heroin, meth, and those types of drugs that are killing people?
But some believe legalizing recreational cannabis use could cause more harm than good.
The prevalence of medical marijuana in this state, we've seen a real uptick in the number of marijuana-related fatalities.
For now, Combs says their main focus is selling alcohol, but they're preparing for whatever the future brings.
The states that are legalizing it, we're talking, we're asking questions. It's good to have that base knowledge so that we can go from there and not be surprised.
Zak Dahlheimer, CBS 17 News.